Welcome to this program, Superdawn. I am Vera Osopor with you today, and this is Friday.
Yes, and I'm Anthony. In fact, before good morning to the world, like you said, this is Friday, one of those days that everyone is happy, joyous in the life of the youth, especially the employees. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers, wherever you're watching us. It's blessed among us reporting on duty this morning. It's a wonderful Friday, and having our manager, Anthony, beg your pardon, join us on set this morning. It's a wonderful time. But actually, not have such a platform like this for a very long time, if you agree with me. And having the three of us on set this morning,
Yeah,
certainly is going to be a wonderful show. It's a Friday, yeah.
Well, today we're going to go through the papers as usual. We'll open the lines for you to call, make your contributions, and we're going to be treating a topic: growing rate of suicide in Nigeria. One wondered why people just commit suicide, but the rate at which it's going now is alarming. And some have attributed the rate to frustration, drug abuse. Some have contributed it to, well, not giving meaning, not giving life a good meaning. That can actually cause it. So we're going to be discussing that today. And if you're a counselor, you can call in to tell us why people just take their life, just like that, because it's a new worthy topic. And you can also, if you had attempted that before, tell us what happened. And if you know why or how that can be prevented, the lines will be open for you to call. Once again, good morning to you. We go on this break. It is newspaper review segment.
Super Dawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed. Now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's the newspaper review segment, and we want to start with the New Telegraph. The first story here says, our APC members not part of us, says APC. And the writer says, Oshomole, Galadima, a bread and butter politician. The All Progressive Congress yesterday disowned the newly launched reformed All Progressive Congress, RAPC, affirming that there was no fraction in the ruling party. Its splinter group comprises of aggrieved members of the APC had on Thursday and on Wednesday also announced a breakaway from the ruling party at a press conference held in Abuja. But Oshomale is saying Galadima is just a bread and butter politician. We also have in the papers, yes, you wanted to say?
Yes, but then he said that there is no faction in the party.
Yes.
But then we had cases where the NPDP had come out to say, okay, they are being marginalized. So if you say there are no factions in the party because of the APC came out, that would be, should I say, I wouldn't say that would be right.
Well, it's their party. We don't know why. I don't know why it said there's no fraction, but we're waiting for the RAPC to give us, because this is just unfolding. It's still unfolding. So we're waiting for the RAPC to tell us what is going on.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, we have the story. Those linking me with killers' headsmen are evil. Buhari. President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday declared that those accusing him of condoning killings by headsmen across the country were people filled with evil thoughts on their minds. The president said that it was unfortunate that people with political agenda have resorted to suggesting that as a Fulani man himself, he was encouraging the suspected armed headsmen to carry out the massacre of innocent citizens.
Well, I believe that the president coming out to say this is he's not the one that should be blamed. It's not the way to go. Personally, we should not be looking at who is to blame or not. Even if the masses do so, we are just being the masses. We are just being we'll always talk. But then it's not. I don't think it's on the president's part to come out and say, okay, it's not my fault. You guys are saying what you're not supposed to be saying and all of that.
Are you saying he should say it's his fault? Is that what you're saying?
He shouldn't say his fault. He should come out with solutions. That's what I'm saying. This is this, that is that. Just make sure you make an order that will come the situation.
Anthony, I want to disagree with what you just said. Leadership is all about responsibility.
Okay.
If you are a leader and you're not taking responsibility for whatsoever it's going on under your leadership, it shows you're a field leader. So whatever it is now, whether you're saying blaming one quarters or the other, it's not what matters here. What really matters here is taking responsibility and ensuring that the security of lives under your leadership becomes a priority.
Okay, let me read this.
You just agreed with me, actually. That's what
let
I'm
me
saying.
read this one. He said, you just agreed with him. He described the killings in Benue, Zamfara, and lately Plateau as wicked and condemnable and completely unacceptable act. Our further ratings, Buhari, who explained that the problem in all areas were historical, said there is no administration that has not had to contend with killings in these areas over the years.
No administration, yeah, but I don't want to sound as if I'm opinionated, but with what is going on here, it's so obvious that the killings in this administration is higher than any other administration you can think of as far as Nigerian governance is concerned.
Okay, we read this one. Senate probes police killings of COP members. And the writer says, summon IGP over killings of 7 officers. The Senate yesterday mandated its Committee on Youth, Health and Police to investigate the untimely death of a female member of the National Youth Service Corps, Ms. Angelina Linda, who was reportedly shot by a police officer in Abuja on Wednesday. The resolution was sequel to a motion brought to the floor of the Senate through Order 42 and 52 raised by Senator Etta Aditukodu, Kogi State PDP. The President of the Senate, Dr. Bukola Saraki, before hitting the gravel in approval of the prayer, said, how could this have happened? How could he, officer, mistakenly or otherwise have shot in such a way that leads to this young girl's death? So they are inviting the Senate, has been summoned, over the killing of 7 officers and also the COP members.
Yeah, well, it's a sad thing that the Nigerian police, which is supposed to be protecting the lives of the security community, are being involved in things like this. Now, I'm not saying they're involved, but they're allegations. Now, the attack on Fayemi, when it was coming from one of their campaigns, the police was also involved. Now, when you look at all of these things, I believe that, I don't know, I feel the police should be probed. Those that are even probing should be probed. I mean, those that are investigating should be investigated, and let's know, let's know what's really happening in the force.
My own take on this is the long and short of it is that the act is condemnable, and we don't expect such a security agency, whether it's being alleged or not. Their priority, just like you said earlier on, is to safeguard the lives of every citizen, every Nigerian. So whatever needs to be done to fish out the perpetrator of this evil should be done right.
Well,
that's my take.
You send your word for service, you know, and you're expecting her back home, and someone is telling you
They got shot by the
they
police.
got shot by a policeman. It's terrible. And we're going to continue with our story. Now that the Senate has invited the IGP for explanation, I think we need
It's
to,
fair hearing.
yeah, we need to know more. And so we're going to continue with that. Well, final story from the New Telegraph says here, how I was trapped by the dismissed OAU professor. And the writer says here, why I demanded 5 rounds of sex from students. I think we need to read the story. The professor of management and accounting at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Richard Akindele, who was recently dismissed for sexually harassing a postgraduate student of the institution, Ms. Monica Osage, has said he was only trapped by the student. In his reply to queries issued to him by the university, which was extensively obtained by News Telegraph, explained that the 5 rounds of sex demand from Monica, as revealed by the linked audio conversation between them, was a deliberate attempt to discourage the student, at the same time invite her to his office to condemn the evidence. What do you think, guys? Story is getting interesting.
Yeah, it is. 5 rounds of sex by professor from his students. I was just thinking to myself, is she a prostitute? Why would you want to go to that extent just because you want to give her a mark? It's highly unacceptable.
No, with what he said now. See, what he said now was, it was a deliberate attempt. That's what he said now.
So it's like a retaliation thing.
Yeah, he said, explain. Let me read that again. Professor Akindele explained that the 5 rounds of sex demand from Monica, as revealed by the linked audio conversation between them, was a deliberate attempt to discourage the student, at the same time invite her to his office to obtain evidence.
Wow, okay, so now he did that intentionally because he wanted to just somehow mentally disorganize the lady, get some evidence that, okay, this really happened. Personally, I feel that's just way out of his line.
Does he have a case here?
That's way, you know, hello?
I don't know what that professor is.
I mean, there's no word. I'm trying to look for a word to qualify this professor.
Let me just keep that for another day.
No, you can say it. You can say it. I mean, you're a woman.
You're a woman.
For the sake of women out there.
Is it high on something?
I'm not a mind reader, but whatever she has in mind, I go with it.
Is it high on something? Anyway, let's continue with another paper. That's all we can take from the New Telegraph.
Okay, moving on to the Daily Independence. This one says, Buhari declares national emergency on high-profile corruption cases. And that's on page 3 of the Daily Independence. I'll take that story. It says, as part of efforts to boost the anti-corruption policy of the current administration, President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday signed Executive Order 6 into law. Among other things, the law restricts dealings in suspicious assets which are subject of investigations or inquiry bordering on corruption in order to preserve such assets from dissipation. I would say that's a good one. I mean, if your asset is being investigated, there is no need. The law actually prevents any access to the funds or the assets that has been investigated. I think that's a good one, if you'd ask me.
Yeah, it is. So we'll just say thumbs up to the president, and we ensure that whatever needs to be done should be done right.
Okay, this one says, headers with AK-47 rifles are criminals. This is coming from Okorocha. Roches Okorocha, Imo State governor, has said that Fulani herdsmen seen with an AK-47 as assault rifles should be seen as criminals and should be treated as such. Okorocha said that the killings being perpetrated by such people have been smeared the image of the real Fulani herdsmen who are honestly carrying on with their cattle herdings. So Okorocha is saying, if you find a Fulani herdsman with an AK-47 rifle, he's a criminal, whether licensed or not. But then, if you look at these things, these Fulani headsmen, so to speak, are using these rifles to protect their cows.
Well, growing up, I never saw them with rifles. Some of my days in the northern parts, we didn't see them with rifles. We see them with their stakes and the way they lead, you know. But we never saw any of them with rifles. So seeing them with rifles, for me, I don't know if they can bring a law should stop it. And also, cattle rustlers should be dealt with as well.
Yeah.
Because they will give you reasons because of the rustlers that they are taking rifles so that they don't steal their cows. But having rifles with you and someone hurting you and you're not a military personnel, you might not be able to control your emotions. And so you just trigger it. I don't know. I don't think it's even fair allowing them to hold rifles.
Okay, so you're saying they should be criminalized, right? That they should be termed or tagged, declared criminals once they hold
That's
rifles.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying it should be stopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no other way to do with it, right?
And then again, if you're not licensed to carry a gun,
That shouldn't.
you with a gun in the
It's
first
against the
place.
law.
It's against the law.
Okay.
It's not in our place for you to go ahead to do things that are against the law. So this message from Governor Rocha Sokorocha to the Nigerian police, if I may put it that way, is to make sure that wherever they find these people with AK-47 rifles, they should take immediate action immediately, and not just wait and start wait to a point whereby these others have gone to a point of causing more havoc in the society before taking necessary action. So for me, I would say it's a welcome development, though I was actually expecting that such a comment should be coming from the higher authorities.
The president himself.
The presidency, yeah.
Okay, yeah, good. But then when we look at both sides, I want to talk, irrespective, like our barrister, Kolawole said. He said, when you're looking at things, you look at things on both sides. But then, how do you expect that the headsmen protect their cows from the cattle rustlers without the rifles?
I think they were doing that before now. It's not new for them. Their style is to, go to ranches, their style is to just, pasture this cattle and the rest. They were doing that before now. We didn't used to hear of cattle rustlers and the rest. It's going to, I think they can handle that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take this last story. Just want to say, court nullifies Imo APC ward LGA congresses. The Federal High Court in Owerri, the Imo State capital, has nullified the recently held ward and local government congresses of the All Progressives Congress APC in Imo State. Justice Louis Alagwa, the presiding court judge, in his rulings that lasted for almost 2 hours, held that the APC ward and local government congresses were never held in the state in the first place. Why would you hold a state congress and local government congress outside your state? And you're doing it, come on. You want to do it, APC want to do their ward congress in Lagos, or rather for Lagos, and they go over to Ibadan to go and do it. Isn't that funny?
It's really funny. It's honestly not supposed to be so. And when you're doing things that are like this, it just shows that there's a lot of issues attached to it. I would just say that the leadership of the APC in Imo State should just put heads together and ensure that whatever needs to be done must be done to ensure that there's a free and fair LG polls in the state. But doing it outside the state, it's honestly not acceptable.
It's not acceptable. Okay, let me just take this headline.
Okay, before you take the headline.
Court or go to prison. The judge orders INEC chairman. And that will be all from the Daily Independence.
Okay, we'll go on this break now. We'll be right back. Bye.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. We'll go move straight to the Punch newspaper now.
On the Punch newspaper this morning, I have so many headlines here, but I take them one after the other. Starting with the major headline here: only evil-minded people will say I am condoning killings, and that's coming from our president, President Muhammadu Buhari. And page 7 and 45 have the story, and the writers reads: killings, AGF blames looting, corrupt politicians, Oyebode disagrees.
Okay.
Let me take.
It sounds very emotional rather.
Yeah, let me quickly just
that word the president said just got to me. You know, it sounds so emotional, saying that
only evil-minded
people
we say is condoning killings.
It's very emotional to me. That means it got back. It got to him. You know, when people say that the president doesn't have human feelings, I just wonder why they talk that way. It's a human being, so you would definitely naturally
there's no human being
have
who doesn't
human
have
feelings. So, well, it's been on the pages of the newspaper for God knows when, for few months ago, where people had imprinted different kind of things to the president, saying he's in support of what is happening. The killings are just too many, and now he's saying, if you think like that, you're evil. Yes.
All right, moving on. Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, APC disown APC probes factional leader status. And I take this, quickly take the story. The All Progressive Congress has disowned members of the factional Reformed All Progressive Congress. The APC said it had initiated a probe into the membership status of some persons purporting to be leaders of the new group. It was contained in a statement signed by the National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, in Abuja on Thursday. The party said on Wednesday, July the 4th, 2018, a group of individuals announced itself as Reformed All Progressive Congress, APC, at RAPC at a press conference held in Abuja. By its action, this group has attempted to create the impression that our party is factionalized. This is not true. You took that story when you were going through the New Telegraph paper this morning, and another divergent view here coming from the Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Party, APC, saying here that they are not aware that a particular group has emerged from their party, that is the Reformed APC. So he's saying here that whosoever is carrying on the insinuation that the party is divided and there are factions in the party, it's not true.
Yeah, that's why I said when I picked that story,
they came out to say, yes, this is us. We are the Reformed APC.
Yeah.
So saying that whoever is carrying the insinuation, I wouldn't say that statement, you know, is viable at this point.
but the party is a body.
Yeah.
And if the executive of those bodies or the ESCOs are saying they don't know about it, it means they don't know about it. And it's just for us to wait until the fractioned APC or fractional APC will come and tell us, hey, we are this, and we're, you know, they keep announcing it. But right now, with what you have read, they've said they don't know anything about it.
All right.
Let's just hope the new leader, Adam Soshomole, does something about it. Definitely, it's obvious that
a lot of crisis here in the party as it is now.
Lots of attention, restructuring, and
it's counted down to the 2019 elections.
It's normally like that. So you see a lot of things happening in parties.
We experienced such a thing during 2015, during when the PDP, opposition PDP was still in party, where you're having factionals at different parties.
You have it in all parties. You have it in all parties where the election is approaching. Yeah. Everybody wants to break up because a lot of people have said that this happens in political settings where people want position, and if they don't get it, they want to take off from the party.
All right, still on the Punch newspaper this morning, I'm reading out this. Fayose shuts down Ekiti for Olushola. The Ekiti State Governor, Ayodele Fayose, on Thursday shut down Ekiti for the mega rally, an official presentation of party flag to his deputy and governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Professor Kolapo Olushola. Olushola received the party's flag from the national chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus. At the event, former Vice President Abubakar Atiku said the PDP was on a rescue mission in Nigeria. Should the sitting governor shut down a particular state due to campaign?
That's what we are seeing here. Though all of these party politics, you trying to use your office to the advantage of just yourself or whoever you're trying to, influence into power and the likes. I would say that, well, it's all party politics at the time. You understand, and it's something that has been going on and on, even before the current administration, and it's all just politics. But then I feel it's not even about the people anymore. It's not about the strategy. It's about the people. How much can you convince the people that, okay, yes, this person I'm bringing into, this person I'm saying can actually do the work on that seat, will do it. You understand?
Yeah.
The more you can convince the people, that's to me, that's just.
Well, we've seen it happen. It will not stop happening here in Nigeria. That's our way of running our
politics. Yeah.
Yes, that's the way we have come to do politics, and everybody does it. It's not new to me, But the question is, should you or shouldn't you? Well, maybe when we open the phone lines at that point, we'll have someone to tell us their thoughts.
Still on the Punch newspaper this morning, Fashola tells landlords to collect rent in arrears. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, on Thursday urged landlords in the country to start collecting rent in arrears beginning from today, July the 6th, 2018. According to him, property owners across the country should understand the plight of low-income earners, while advocating the payment of rent after each month as against what is obtainable across the country currently. The minister appealed to homeowners to be considerate. He argued that the salary earners who could afford to pay rent were not receiving their salaries in advance, but in arrears. Do you think it's a welcome development? Landlords collecting rent in arrears.
Well,
in arrears.
Okay. Well, I think the government, the federal government, and also the Minister for Housing need to also look at housing in Nigeria first.
Yeah.
Look at how much do you buy materials first. You look at lots of things, because if I'm a landlady, I will go to the market to buy my building materials. What is the cost right now? And if I'm a tenant, how much do I receive? Is my money, is it enough, especially considering the economic situation in this country? Is my money enough, my salary enough to even rent an accommodation? Because these are issues that we have in this country that we need solutions to. The situation is a bit dicey here.
Yeah, it is.
You go to market, you are the landlord. How much do we buy a plot of land right now as of today? No matter the area in Lagos State is on the high side. Then again, how can I pay my landlord if I don't have good work, pay work? If my salary doesn't come in time, how can I pay the landlord? It means it's on both sides right now. So I don't know if the landlord, we just plead with the landlady or the landlords or whoever, please, if you want accommodation and it's unrented business accommodation, please understand the situation now, the economy right now needs more of understanding. Allow people pay when they have it. It's not a deliberate attempt. Maybe I'm saying this to my landlord.
I would just say here that irrespective of whether the cost of building materials are on the high side or not, one thing that should be considered here is the fact that we're looking at the economy. Okay, is the economy okay for employers to want to do business and then still have enough resources to pay their staff? Okay, if you are earning a particular amount in a month and then you're thinking about to pay your rent in arrears, have you considered other expenses? Have you considered other bills that needs to be paid? You need to feed, and if you have children, you need to clothe. You need to send them to school and other things. I will say here that the Honourable Minister for
Housing should get more accommodation.
The deficit is much.
More
7
housing.
million housing deficit in Nigeria as a whole. We need to work on that first. And if
know?
we have that, then let's look for how we can have affordable accommodations.
We need
Then we
affordable
can now
homes.
start talking about paying rent in arrears. What's your take, Anthony?
Basically, all of this is a chain. We talked about the minimum wage, the salaries of the earners, the rent, the renters, and the landlords. Now, when you look at all of these things, you see that okay, if those that are renting are not well paid, how can they pay their rent? At the end of the day, those that are building houses, buying lands, when the land is just too much, the amount is just too much, it's too cost, they try to inflate these prices on the rent. So when you look at all of these things, I think it starts from the top. The ministers should find a way to liaise with other ministries, probably labor, you understand?
Yeah.
And find a way to do something that would
I
aid
just
the
think-
salaries, the minimum wage.
Wait,
up.
I just think,
Something
even
needs
away
to be
from
done.
the
Because at the end of the
salaries,
day, it's about the money. It's not even about the
even
the,
away
the
from the
deficits or the
salaries, away
it's
from
about
the
money being
salaries,
paid.
it's not just about the salaries alone. Businesses aren't striving as they used to.
Yeah.
Things are a bit difficult out there. Businesses are collapsing. People that will usually do business with you before without blinking an eyelid pay will owe you. So how do you, with all these expenses, how do you really want to meet target of paying worker salaries? It boils down to us knowing that we need to get housing for the people, for the people, you know, and get affordable houses. It's not that federal government telling me there's houses and I'm going to pay 2 million and installment payment, and you expected, say, every month you pay 100, someone that the salary is not even up to 100,000. And so I think they can get bricks houses. I think they can get houses that that people can easily afford. They can also do private partnership with people. We can get mortgaged. You know, we should begin, federal government should begin to look at mortgage. Okay, in 2 years or in 5 years, you can pay up and that's your house. A 2-bedroom flat, self-contained, or 3-bedroom, even a duplex if you can afford it. But the truth right now is we need housing for the people. We need housing. If you know the amount we pay for accommodation is alarming, and your landlord, your landlady, your landlord isn't going to be listening to stories that the country is somehow, or because the landlady or the landlord as well lives on those things. That's her business or his business. So the government should, for me, I think, begin to look at accommodation, and the minister should please do so. It's an urgent need.
It's very alarming, especially in Lagos, to get a place to stay or to even build a house. Even the town where Super Screen is situated, to get a self-contained, trust me, it's a whole lot of work. It's a whole lot of work. The agents, the landlords, the landladies, and when you want to build your house, the Omoniles, so-called Omoniles.
No, they don't do that again in Lagos, because Lagos State has stopped Omoniles. They've stopped that practice.
But one thing you just need to look into is, as regards the payments in arrears, a lot of these landlords, what they're scared of is, okay, if I allow you to pay in arrears, would you actually pay? If I say, okay, I'm being lenient enough, I leave you to stay for a while before you can pay, will you actually pay? There are lots of tenants out there that would rather just over time, when they're being they've owed for like a while and they feel, okay, this is too much, they just run out of the court.
All right, so much has been said on that, and moving on to another story on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning. APC crisis can only be resolved through justice, says Dogara. Oshomole Yari attack our APC leaders. Page 9 has that story. Over 630,000 to vote in Ekiti governorship election. That's coming on INEC. Page 9 has that story. And finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, Saraki, Buhari, Obasanjo mourned as Siruma dies at 84. Page 42 of the Punch newspaper has that story. And that does it for me on the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, moving away from the Punch, this morning we'll take the Daily Trust and we're going to do the headlines. He said, aggrieved APC reps demand author tickets. We have Buhari declares emergency on corruption. Adamu Shiroma from 1934 through 2018. We also have police public offers, MTN yet to file for permission. Trials of Nigerian-based ex-Israeli ministers begins. And finally, fund for infrastructural development on the way. That's from the federal government. That is where we end this segment of the program. Up next, we want to look at growing rate of suicide. If you say suicide in Nigeria today, the death has become so disturbing. And we want to look at it, looking at what are the causes. Why should someone decide to just commit suicide? Why do you want to kill yourself? Why do you want to take your life? What is that thing bothering you that you cannot even decide or discuss with someone? Well, we'll continue. We'll go on this break. We'll be right back.
These are tips to help stay strong and healthy. Learn to do stretching exercises when you wake up. It boosts circulation and digestion and eases back pain. Studies have shown that eating a proper breakfast is one of the most positive things you can do if you're trying to lose weight. Breakfast skippers tend to gain weight. A balanced diet includes fresh fruits or fruit juice, a high-fiber breakfast cereal, low-fat milk or yogurt with wheat toast, and a boiled egg. Many people do not know how to brush their teeth properly. Improper brushing can cause much damage to your teeth and gums. It's not brushing at all. Lots of people do not brush for long enough, floss, nor see a dentist regularly. Hold your toothbrush in the same way that you would hold a pencil and brush for at least 2 minutes. This includes brushing the teeth, the junction of the teeth and gums, the tongue, and the roof of the mouth. Get your daily calcium by chugging milk or eating yogurt. It will keep your bones strong. Remember that your bone's density declines after the age of 30. You need at least 200 milligrams daily, which you should combine with magnesium, or it simply would not be absorbed. Tomato is a superstar in the fruit and vegetable pantheon. Potatoes and tomatoes contain lycopene, a powerful cancer fighter. They're also rich in vitamin C. The good news is that cooked tomatoes are also nutritious, so use them in pasta, soups, and casseroles, as well as salads. Tomatoes and apples can reduce the risk of asthma and chronic lung diseases. Both contain the antioxidant courseurin. To enjoy the benefits, eat 5 apples a week or tomato every day. We need at least 90 milligrams of vitamin C per day, and the best way to get this is by eating at least 5 servings of fresh fruit and vegetables every day. So hit the oranges and guavas. Folic acid should be taken regularly by pregnant moms and people with a low immunity to disease. Folic acid prevents spina bifida in unborn babies and can play a role in cancer prevention. It is found in green leafy vegetables, liver, fruit, and brain. Vitamins help to boost immunity agent diseases. It also assists in the healing process of diseases such as measles and is recommended by the World Health Organization. Good natural sources of vitamin A are kidneys, livers, dairy products, green and yellow vegetables, pawpaw, mangoes, chili peppers, red sorrel, and the red palm oil. Do not have soft drinks or energy drinks while you're exercising. Stay properly hydrated by drinking enough water during your workout. Just don't overdo things, as drinking too much water can also be dangerous. Do not eat carbohydrates for at least an hour after exercise. This will force your body to break down fat rather than using the food you ingest. Stick to fruits and fluids during that hour, but avoid beer. Don't smoke, and if you smoke already, do everything in your power to quit. Don't buy into that granny smoked and live to be 90 crude. Not even the tobacco giants believe in it. Have a pap smear once a year. Not on our list of favorite things, but it's vital. Cervical cancer kills 200,000 women a year, and it's most prevalent from the cancer of blonde black people.
We're looking at growing rate of suicide in Nigeria. As we speak, reports of suicide is on the headlines on a daily basis. And one begins to wonder, why is it growing at this ratio in Nigeria today? We're looking at it because Anthony and Blessed, you just see too many. It's becoming too many where people get frustrated and just want to give up. And you wonder, why do you want to give up? Have you tried other options? What is making you so frustrated that, hey, you just feel there's no need living? What do you think is the cause
Well,
or causes of these things?
I would say there are so many causes, as a matter of fact, but then you just kind of ascertain which. You know, when you see reports, you hear reports on the newspapers, on the news that so person, as a matter of fact, I took one yesterday, a suicide, where an entertainer actually committed suicide. But then you look at all of these things, then you see what the most alarming cause has to do with depression. Either depression or fear of failure. You cannot just handle the fact that, okay, you wanted to do this, but you could not do this. You know, back in the days when we used to write JAM to get into the university, there were so many cases where people committed suicide because they could not meet the cutoff mark of their university. You know, so I think one for me, the most alarming is depression and fear of failure.
Suicide has been something we least expect to happen in our country, and as it is now, it's not on the alarming side. People now these days just feel the only resort to solving a particular challenges is just to end your life, and which is the true fact of it, not actually the true way out of it. Suicide does not solve anyone's problem, but rather it creates more pains to the heart of those people you're going to be leaving behind. Anthony has said quite a lot on that. And suicide, the process of suicide don't just come at a first thought. It has to go through some certain process. If you permit me to share a personal experience, at a point in my life, I was in that particular state whereby I was so depressed that I looked around me, I realized that things were not going on the way I expect. Things were not going as planned. And the only thought coming to my mind is just to end my life. Because I felt if I can't, because for me personally, I wasn't actually looking at the people around me. I was like, okay, if God can fail me, if I can trust in him, if I can hope on him, if I can have confidence in him, and still he can still fail me when I need him the most, then what is the essence of living? So in the course of this, I still find my mind still telling me that there is still hope, there is still hope. And then again, there's another thing we need to look at. There has to be a support system whereby you should be able, whatever state you find yourself, as human, we go through different challenges in life. It's either you're coming out from one or you're just going into another. And then again, if we have support systems around us, when we are going through challenges and we are willing to open up to people, it makes it easier for us to be able to curtail that idea or that thought of committing suicide. But then, suicide is still not the best option, no matter the challenges you're going through. Fear of failure, depression, frustration, and looking around you, you're finding out that whatever the challenge is, and they are too overwhelming that you cannot overcome on your own. Just talk to someone about it, or better still, just walk out of that immediate environment and look for a way out of it.
Okay, because I know that this is like an epidemic social malady ravaging a people in a nation. And it is easier to say, why did you commit suicide? People easily say that without going into it, without finding out why do they really do it. Because some people have gone through a lot. If we begin to say our experiences, you wouldn't know what drives you. But you see, it can drive you to wanting to commit suicide. We saw recently someone was rescued wanting to jump into the lagoon.
Yeah.
You know, on the 10 million bridge, we see where the other day woman was going and she didn't have who to help her. She just, that's it. That's what they're showing right now. The world is not mattering to this person. It doesn't matter to this particular person anymore. Everything is gone to this person. Family had failed this person. Friends aren't there. They don't want to understand. They don't know. Maybe their bosses, maybe their spouse. Everybody is just seeing you and the person is looking at himself and saying, hey, I'm finished. What's the essence of living? And that's where it keeps coming into one's mind and one begins to say, why am I living after all? I think at this point, that's what drives people to say, it is over. But we can actually help out when we see people with cases. You know, it's depression and it goes from depression. Life doesn't matter to that person. But who have we sat down to find out who is actually the cause or what is the cause? Because sometimes it could be man-made cause. Your child is going through school and he didn't pass. Some of us have some very disciplined, tough parents growing up. And you must not fail. Where are you coming from? Because your father or your mother feels, your father feels he's a very brilliant person while he was in school. And he thinks he can't see his child coming back home and saying, my work result, I didn't get it. I didn't get it at one sitting. The parents will be thinking of the school fees. The parents might be thinking of what will my friend say when their children are just getting it at a sitting. The parent might be thinking, what will my colleague at work say if I say that my child failed WAEC? And you get home with that annoyance, with that disappointment, and the guy wants to eat, he says, it's only food you can eat. The guy wants to watch television, I say, you cannot watch television. The guy wants to sleep, he said, you sleep too much. And the brothers or the sisters are doing well, and he says, see, look at your younger ones. I'm sure my daddy is watching. Well, you know, I was good in school. But you see, that was what you didn't fail. You're just, maybe you came third in class. In my house, you didn't fail, you just came third. And my father would say, that person that came first, did you see two heads? Is it not just one? So you go to school and come back with third or second position. It is, you know, and that drives the child. Instead of the child to be calm. Thank God for this era where you can interact with your child. Say, not to worry. But those days, my growing up days, you cannot come second in my house. So everybody's competition. And at times you read, like mathematics was a bit difficult for me. I read and read and read. It wasn't going in. And my father is good. And when he says, bring it, let me see what they did. And he said, this simple thing. And he would just do it. And he said, this simple thing, mathematics, you know, this can drive a child to it. I don't know if you have an experience, Anthony.
Yeah, true. Well, personally, I have always been, to an extent, been depressed, especially academically. Now, my dad, like you said, my dad is that very sound type, you know, but Anthony, you know, on the other side, you know, I was in science class hoping to be an engineer, but then I was not really science inclined, per se. I was always more into the arts and commercials. I would rather do that. Even in university, I did a science-based course, but I would rather find myself doing more of the art courses, the, mass comm courses and all of that. So yes, coming back home was then. It wasn't a good story. Trust me.
I can just imagine the way he's saying it.
And
oh my God.
if you know how a typical Benin man is, and how he disciplines his children, you have an idea. Especially, you have an idea. So yes, I had my moments, depression and all of that, but then back to what you were saying, it's Africans, especially Nigerians, we feel that that is a way to curb the child, stop the child from being lazy and all of that. But then you do not know that to an extent that is dragging the child into that depression, fear. You don't do well in your academics, you are scared to come home. You find a way. Then back in the days,
you want to go home.
You want to go home. You find a way to alter the results. But at the end of the day, your smart dad will find out and you pass you the same thing twice.
You can say more.
But all of those things happened. But one thing we usually overlook is when you told me your story, you said you got to a point where you were thinking about all of that, suicidal thoughts and all. We Africans, we don't like admitting the fact that yes, we could be suicidal. You always say I'm an African man now. No, you can't
Nothing
happen.
can touch me.
Nothing. But that's a big fat lie. You understand? Right now in the country, there's so much happening. Fine. Fela said, okay, Nigerians, we are suffering and sprite, we are smiling. We are that side that no matter how it gets bad, we always find a way to keep ourselves alive, happy, and all of that. But right now, this generation, let's say from 20 years back down, it's been a different story. The spate of suicide is very alarming, and I think that it's one thing. It's now we should, voice out that okay, this is it. This is that. These are the causes of crime, and these are the way to go about it to curb all of that. I think the first thing you have to think about is your family. For one, I can't bear the thoughts. If the day I had a very severe accident, trust me, I got home, I didn't tell mom.
Because you're afraid that she might have
You
a
understand?
BP.
You understand? So by the time you have that in your mind, that okay, if I leave this world today, who will it affect?
I don't know
Come
about
on,
a guy and a mom. I don't understand that
It's just
connection.
a
But that's for
daughter
another
and a
day.
father,
We're going to do
they love
it one
that.
of this weekend. The daughter and the father's relationship, and the son and the mother relationship. We're going to do it some of these days. But looking at what it is, some people can want to commit it because this is what is causing these days loads of death rate in Nigeria. A father has kids, children. He was well-to-do, and things didn't turn out well again. And the father looks at his child and says, "Daddy, I need Indomie. You cannot provide for your child. The child is not feeling too good. You need to get the child to the clinic, and you cannot get that done. School fees, you cannot get that done. Your wife, you cannot even give her money to make her hair. Feeding, landlord is knocking on the door. At work, the boss is on you to deliver whatever you need to deliver." Some people will just go, the brain will just go anti-clockwise, and hey, I'll just kill myself. Comes to their mind. But I must say here that even if you have that kind of thoughts, even though it's coming in, that's another place where, even at the place of work, you can see one or two persons to offload. I do that at times. I won't care about the person's age. I called some of my colleagues, I think, was it last month or 2 months? They don't know anything about me. But I was in a state of, hey, I need to let some things go. I usually call my pastor. We're close because Pastor Emirate Andy is someone that you can relate with. She understands. She has lots of experiences. She has seen life. And she will tell you, she won't pretend and say, she won't just start telling you, don't worry, God has sorted. No. She will tell you her own experience that will lead to your solution. But you must know the right person to discuss with. If you take some kind of situation to some people, because of their upbringing, because of that kind of person, the whole world will hear, and you feel bad that I cannot relate to this person next time. But you can actually look around. Who can keep secret? Who can help me out? Who is matured in mind? Who might not be biased? Who can tell me the way it is? You can look around to explain to that person. Sometimes we actually lead people to committing suicide at times. Maybe the way we react. That's why we have to begin to learn how to react. Maybe the way we say things, words that
Read
drop.
people.
Yeah, what some people, words just drop. And that's how they were brought up. They will just say it, and they don't know it's wrong because of their friends, you know. And so we also need to work on our minds. You don't expect me to understand what you're going through when you're supposed to get a job done and you're not doing it right. You don't expect me to know what's in your mind. It's only the Holy Spirit, I'm not preaching this morning, that can understand what's in your mind. Because the work must be done. So some things push people when they see failure, and there's a fear of failure. Most times your brothers are making it, and maybe that your younger ones or your elder ones are making it, and nobody's helping you. And it might at times be just your attitude. Some people are egocentric. They are proud. And say, I'm not going to tell them, they are supposed to know. Who is to know that your bills need to be paid?
Now, I think if I have to come in here
Yes,
in that regard, I'll say here that depression gets to a point in the person's life whereby you just feel that no one cares about you. You feel neglected, and when you get to that stage, you find it difficult, very, very difficult to want to speak out. You begin to withdraw. You start keeping to yourself. And when you start keeping to yourself, when such a person starts keeping to him or herself, the problems expand. And when they keep expanding, and that is why you now find out that the thought of suicide now becomes predominant in the person's thought, in the person's mind as well. And part of the clip which we showed on air states, break the silence. At every point in life, at every stage in life, we encountered one challenges or the other. And then again, we must realize that as we are going through some certain challenges in life, look out for people around you. Just like you said, find the right set of people you can talk to. Those who have a listening ears, who are not going to be biased, those you can talk to, seek for counseling. Counseling is the best way to go out of it, because when you are frustrated at the points in life and you refuse not to talk about it and you keep it to yourself and you are managing that frustration, it will get to a point whereby you cannot handle it anymore. It affects your thoughts, it affects your actions, it affects your behaviors, it affects everything about you. Okay, so at a particular stage where you find out that the challenges you're going through in life are overwhelming you, you cannot control it again, break the silence. When you're able to break the silence, you curtail it at that point, because when it goes beyond frustration, it's getting towards depression. And when it gets to that state of depression, suicide, the thought of suicide begins to become prevalent in the human's thinking. So I would say here that first and foremost, for our viewers who are watching, when you get to that point of frustration, where you feel that your problem or your challenges are overwhelming you, break that silence. When you break the silence, then it won't have to lead to the state of depression, because depression and fear, or whatever we want to attach it to, are the major cause of suicide.
You know, when you say break the silence, that's a fact anyway. That's something that you should do if you are potentially getting to that point where you're going to be depressed. But then I want to indulge on everyone, the general public. If you have a friend there that you know, for instance, this person is somehow just keeping to himself.
Moody,
you understand?
Yeah.
Withdrawn. You understand?
Usually a happy person and start withdrawing.
You start withdrawing. You just need to find a way to reach out. Reach out. Now, there are some cases where this person, you feel you want to break the silence. You're depressed. You're frustrated. You want to break the silence. You go out to your friends. You go out with your friends and all of that. It doesn't just work. As a matter of fact, your friends, those things that give you that muse, that joy, begin to irritate you. Do you understand? It gets to that point sometimes. It begins to irritate you. So at that point, you feel, okay, let me just, find a way to seclude myself from all of these things and be calm. Let me think. And then from there, it starts increasing to depression. So at that point, I feel it's not even the job or the duty of the person. That person is just being a human being. It is the duty of those surrounding him.
Aside that, some people are just mentally lazy. Wait,
there's a difference
I will allow you.
Okay.
At times, some people are just mentally lazy. Some, if you hear why they want to commit suicide, you will just wonder. Some, maybe they didn't give them money. True. And they are used to spending anyhow.
True.
and they say no money, and you just say, okay, no money, right? They just go and commit it.
To punish.
Lazy mind. Go ahead.
Now, Anthony said something I just want to quickly correct here. There's a difference between thinking and worrying. Okay? When you are thinking is a process of going through a mental state of sort of seeking solutions to a problem. Some people may think, or maybe you use the word, may think they are thinking, but still they are worrying. When you are thinking, the outcome or the end result of thinking is to come out with a solution to a particular problem. And when you're in a depressed state, you're not thinking. You can't think right. So that is why I said here that, when I said earlier in the first place that look for a support system. In my own case, when I was depressed, I look for people around me. Just like you said, getting the right set of people you can talk to. I look around me, I look at people who can handle my kind of situation, and I reach out to the right people. We need to have support systems. Government needs to come into this and look for how they can create social welfares, whereby if you're going through some certain challenges, there's a particular sector or a particular ministry that is handling this, and they are literally But how many people are aware of it? This is another fact.
That's why we're discussing it.
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing up the issue as well.
Also, if you're going through a challenge, you can call me. You can. There are materials I can recommend. There's a particular material that they call Power of Your Mind. Power of Your Mind, because this has to do with the human mind. The power of the human mind is so powerful that it can solve situation. It can also cause destruction. So you can use some materials to help you. If you know you're just tired, you've tried your best. It happens when you've tried your best, and some cases are not just human. It's not your fault. It just happened, and people will look at you and say, hey, it's your fault, or you're just tired, things aren't working, and nobody wants to understand, and maybe that's how it starts, and begin to reason in your mind that I'm not loved. Some will just feel, I'm not loved. They don't care. Nobody cares. My school fees, nobody knows how I paid. Some will tell you, nobody knows how I'm feeding, and I've tried looking for job isn't coming, and I'm a graduate, and I want to help my poor parents. That's how it starts. And you begin to see all of these things. And you're at the bus stop, someone splashes water on you, and you said, it's not your fault. And the keke man, tricycle man, comes and insults you, and you look at the person. Someone had handled monies before. You know what I'm talking about? You might be there. You've handled monies before, and today you don't even have to feed. So this kind of situation happened this morning. A friend of mine called me, and I just, hey, I wanted to do that. I just said, God help me. There are people that are going through a lot of situations. But suicide cannot be the last result. It's not the last result. What is the last result is looking around you and saying, I am not going to die. My pastor, I keep saying that, and permit me, I'm using that, says, look at a situation and walk through it. How do you do that? It's the power of your mind. You look at a situation, and someone has said you cannot make it in life. Some people will tell you it's from the village. My parent died and nobody cares for me. We can't make it. They have said we can't make it. And you don't take it. Don't let it sink into you. Don't allow it sink. Tell yourself, look at the situation and walk through it. Say, I'm going to get out of this. That's the best way of.
All right, we have George calling from Mushi. Hello, good morning, George.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, we can hear you.
You see, I often more fell into this situation of ago. People around me, they nearly push me because they are not helping the situation. Everything is not making me. Marriage, work, everything, they are not working. And people that
sorry about that, George. I can understand.
Yeah,
there was a time where someone, no, we've had loads of experiences. Some people say, at your age, you're not married. Maybe you were useless while growing up. Some people say, at your age, you're married. Some people are married and their husband, maybe they are in-laws.
Wives and husbands.
Their in-laws are saying, you've not had children after 15 years of marriage. You are barren because during campus days you were this, and you might not be that kind of person. Some people, the husband would say, hey, the man comes and the man refuses to speak with the wife. Some is not just children. Some, their children are not very intelligent. And the man will say, it's your fault, woman. You know? Some, the husband beats them, violates them. You know? And they look at it and say, why am I leaving? I can't tell my parents because they've lost that relationship because of marriage with their families. Some immediately they get married, they just cut off their family and say, my husband, my children, and I alone. But you don't know that you need to carry extended families along in life. Your parents are still your family.
True.
Even when in marriage. And so when they begin to have issues in marriage, they cannot fall back to their families. And they just say, I'm going to die in here. And the man keeps molesting, harassing, and hurting them. And they say, if I go, they will say, you want a divorce. It's forbidden in their family. And they'll just take some medication and that's it.
Yeah, a lot of factors contribute.
A
lot of factors contribute to one community suicide. We have the economical factor, we have the marital factors, so many factors. And just like what George said, in his own case, the people around him, that's his support system, are not strong enough to deliver him out of that state he was at that particular point in time. Work is there, the economic is there, his marriage is there. And again, we need to realize, just like you said earlier on, be conscious about people around you.
People you mingle with.
If I know Anthony to be the I type, and then all of a sudden, today is withdrawn, tomorrow is withdrawn, I don't have to wait till the third day to go meet him and ask him, guy, what's up? How are you doing? You've been withdrawing. Talk to me. Because when we don't have the support system, that is how frustration gravitates to depression. And when it gets to that point of depression, if a good therapist did not come into place at that point in time, that is when suicide becomes the final solution for people facing such
but
challenges.
some people, the environment is not really good enough for them. The environment is not good enough for them because their friends around them, their colleagues around them, their church members around them are not friendly. And so you begin to wonder, what kind of friends do you keep? What kind of friends do you keep? You know, you should keep people that will talk sense into you. Not because you have a situation, even before situation.
What for men.
Is it just, yes, for men.
For
Go ahead,
men,
tell me. Absolutely. I know you like to enjoy life. Life is beautiful.
Yes, truly. Taking a cue from what Blessed said, most men, you know, when we have that issue, we get into depression, we like to think that we are thinking.
Yeah.
So then we go at the bar, and you know, we start to do all of that things. You know? But when you look at all of those things, the more you drink the alcohol, you waste yourself away. You are only gravitating towards suicidal thoughts.
Death.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're not helping the situation. So it's only right that you just consciously find a way to control all of that alcoholism, the kind of people you keep around you. Just find the best manner is hope and find a good therapist to talk to.
Not only get right people around you, listen to material.
Good counseling.
Get good counseling.
Work on your mind.
Good friends.
Yeah, work on your mind.
Work with your mind.
Your thinking.
I'll give you material, the power of your mind. Call me after this show if you have an issue or you are depressed or you're going through any challenge. I'll give you some materials that will take that away. But we must go now.
All right.
And we'll wrap it up to final word. One word from you.
Well, stay hopeful. Nigeria is a good place, regardless of anything happening in the country or your life. Stay hopeful, and definitely things will fall in place. I'm Anthony Osago. Thanks.
Suicide is not the final way out of any solution. No matter what you're going through, if you think killing yourself will solve the problem, I beg of you not to do that. But rather, it makes the pain even worse because you're leaving a lot of loved ones behind you who love you so much and would love to have you around them. But whatever challenges you might be going through, break the silence. Look for people around you, a good and a strong support system that you can relate yourself with and ensure that whatever you're going through is being nipped in the bud. Suicide is not the best way to go in any challenges you're facing, and try as much as you can to always break the silence.
Well, there are challenges in life, no doubt about it. But those challenges, there are situations, there are solutions. You can get solution. All you need to do is get the right people around you, change your mindset, look at the situation and walk through it. You will be a success. Well, this is where we end this segment of the program. Up next is Superdawn Sports. We'll be right back.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's Superdawn Sports with Prince Willovie. So, Prince, good morning to you.
Good morning, Vera. You're looking. I said it before I came on air. Yeah.
Really?
I love your combination.
Well, Princess did the makeup for me today. It's
You're
a Friday.
The princess. You're the princess. So.
Thank you, Princess. Anyway, what's happening today?
Yeah, the World Cup.
Break.
The World Cup fever is on. We're right now in the quarterfinals, and the big boys are right now showing what they're made of. But the big news rocking the world of sports right now is Ronaldo movement to Juventus.
Okay, I'll allow them continue with it while he's done. I'll come back to talk more on that. But we'll go on this break now. It's sports time.